Less than 24 hours, Georgians will be under a shelter-in-place order.
McDonald, though, said he did not know the man was handcuffed and was trying to use his foot to pin him to the ground so he could be handcuffed.
If your friends, neighbors, or local organizations are not complying, report them to us.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Free Georgia podcast. My name is Jake Green. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Today will be a special episode. We're going to show, actually this week and next week will be special episodes. Today, we're going to be playing the first keynote speech from the great create, Mr. James Dutton. He gave a lot of phenomenal information, and so it'll be a good one. You'll want to stick around till the end. You'll learn a whole lot and extremely useful information at that. So stick around for this entire thing. Y'all, if you didn't make the great create, you missed out. It was fantastic. We had a great time. It was very successful for the LP. I know the hurricane stopped a lot of people from being able to come. It stopped some speakers. It stopped some vendors. So, you know, not much you can do about a hurricane hitting. But if, next year when we throw it again, you got to be there, because I'll be living in Montana at that point, but I'm going to come in town specifically for that because it's such a good time. Fantastic event. Huge shout out to Elizabeth Melton for throwing it together. Not throwing it together. That sounds like she did it quickly. For taking the extreme care and taking a lot of her time to put it together to make it be awesome. So, the amount of information that you could have learned, the amount of delicious beer that you could have drank, it was just a really good time. So, yeah, make sure you come out next next year when the Great Create happens yet again. I think that's it for right now. Without further ado, here's Mr. James Dutton.
While I was there, I did nearly 1,800 cases, all felonies, and I never lost a trial once, okay? And my training was, you'll figure it out, get in there. And guys, what? But this is serious. No, you'll do fine. And I just took a different attitude of, hey, I don't work for the state. I certainly don't work for this judge, and I damn sure don't work for this DA. I work for this client. And even though they're not the one cutting me a check, they're my boss. So I'm going to do what's best for them. And slowed court down quite a lot. And they'd go, well, you have to announce ready on 60 cases. Well, I'm not ready. And I'm not going to sit here and perjure myself and lie in court and say that I am. But you have to get ready. I'm ready on these 4 cases. Well, what if they pick another one? I'm not ready on those. I've gone to the site. I don't have an investigator. It's all me. I'm ready on these cases. If you pick another one, well, we're going to hold you contempt. Hold me contempt. I brought you a toothbrush. Like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to slow your calendar down even more. Well, but James, we don't know what to do. I don't care. I don't work for you. You're not my problem. He's my problem. Okay? Since then, I'm now in private practice. And even in law school, though, I never thought I was going to do criminal law. I only did 1 semester of criminal law in law school. And that whole time I was like, ugh, criminal. I don't want to deal with criminals. But what I learned is a criminal defense attorney doesn't really defend the criminals, right? And I use the word criminals in this context because they're all incredibly guilty. Like, they're like the guy who's got a speeding ticket, the guy who got in a fight, the guy who got busted with drugs. Like, there's no way that I can really get in there and be like, but he didn't, like he was wearing somebody else's pants. You know what I mean? Like, those defenses don't work. However, that guy doesn't need to go to prison for it, okay? He needs rehab. He's got a meth problem. Prison's not going to help him. And just sitting him away for 3 years like you're going to do unless I stop you isn't going to help him. So we've been able to start a bunch of alternative courts and stuff and get people into programs that instead help them change their lives and actually save us all money because we don't have to pay to keep them up while they're in prison. Instead, they're out working and paying taxes. So it's a much better way just to do things in general. That said, most of my work is defending the Constitution. The judge's job is to sit and be a referee. okay? And if nobody says, but wait, the rule is, they're going to keep going. The DA's job is to prosecute and believe the cops, okay? Which is harder than you think, okay? And they're not going to say, oh, yeah, my cop did something wrong, right? I mean, a baseball coach isn't going to call his own team for an infield fly. He's going to go, well, the umpires didn't call it. Like, off we go. And it's very rare when a DA goes, actually, we really should have followed the law more closely on this. It takes a defense attorney to stand up and go, whoa, 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 I'm so sorry that this murderer is going to get off, but the Constitution's more important than this guy's prosecution. I'm so sorry that you did it wrong. That's not my fault. And millions of people literally have died for these rights, and so they're more important than anything happening in this courtroom. I don't care what the charge is. So I'm sorry, Mr. Police Officer, but you have to follow these rules. I'm the only one in the room making that happen. If there aren't defense attorneys, the cops aren't going to follow the rules because no one's making them. The prosecutors aren't going to follow the rules because nobody's making them. And the judges aren't going to follow the rules because nobody's calling it out. It's the defense attorney's job to go, whoa, 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 I'm so sorry that this interferes with you guys railroading this person. But the Constitution matters, and here's why. Okay? The most important thing I learned in law school, okay, well, I learned my first day. First day of law school, it's super competitive. You've been the smartest kid in the room for all of your college career, and now you're in the room with the still smartest kids from everywhere, right? And you feel like an idiot because you go, I did not study nearly as much as these kids did. We had reading. This is my first day. I'm supposed to be 200 pages in. I had no idea. And you're graded in law school against each other, okay? So they can only give so many A's. For every A they give, they have to give a C, right? So the kids that go to the library every single day and stay all night, like, you're graded against them, and you're like, oh, crap, I don't think I worked hard enough. In walks this professor. He's 6'6", looks like Darth Vader, has a Darth Vader cutout in his office, okay? Gray-haired, black a magistrate judge with books. And he walks down to the front of the class, slams them down, and we're all terrified, quiet. You know, it's stadium-style seating with 80 kids. And he gets a $100 bill, and he posts $100, takes it to the board. And he says, all of you have the right to that $100 bill. And we're all like, what is he talking about? Like, what is happening? And then he just starts like, what are the facts of the case? Oh, what case? What do you mean, what case? You're not supposed to be here? I thought you were smart. What are the facts? It just tears the room up. And we're all just silently praying that he doesn't come to us, right? That's what the first day of law school is. And you're just sitting there going, what is happening? I feel like I'm in a firing squad. Okay, at the end of the class, he walks back over to the board, and he pulls that $100 bill off the board, and he said, you have lost the right to this $100 bill. At any point during class, you could have walked down here and gotten this $100 bill. You had the right to it. You did not assert your right, so you have lost it. The only rights we have are the rights that we assert. And if you stop asserting them, you lose them, and you don't get them back. And he closed his books, and he left. I could not tell you what the rest of that 2-hour class was about. I will forever be grateful for that lesson. The only rights we have are the rights that we assert. You know, it used to be illegal for police to have dogs smell your car, smell your luggage. But not enough people asserted their right to privacy, including their private smells, that the courts have ruled collectively as a society we have waived that right. And so we no longer have it. They used to have to get a warrant to put a GPS tracking device in your car. But since we're all on Google and Google can track your car, we've all collectively waived that right. They used to have to get a warrant to put a camera across the street and watch your house and surveil you. But since Google Earth, we've waived that right. They don't need a warrant to do that anymore. You see how bad this gets? Okay? Normally, I open carry a handgun. I don't conceal because I hope to never have to shoot anybody. I open carry to show I have the right to a firearm, and so do you, and we should all get used to seeing them. Not on just cops, okay? That's why I'm wearing it. I mean, if somebody came up and tried to rob me, I'd be like, here's my wallet. It's not worth killing you, or, you know what I mean? Like, I hope I would never have to use it. The point is, I get to. The point is, millions of people died so that I get to, okay? All right, let's go to the next one. Okay. Oh, boy. All right. We're working on this. Okay. Where do our rights come from? Anybody? Don't need to get religious.
The Constitution.
No, wrong. Wrong again. The Constitution is also not correct.
God.
From God. By being a human being created by a divine creator, all right, whether you believe or not, this is what the founding fathers believed, okay? That is where our rights come from. The Constitution prevents the government from taking those rights away. It doesn't at all set limits on what we as humans can do. It sets limits on what the government can do to take away our God-given rights. All right? Hey, I got a constitutional... No, you do not. You have a God-given and constitutionally protected right. Okay? We need to change that mindset in folks. People need to understand the government are the ones being restricted by the Constitution, not us. Okay? It's important to know your rights because if you're ignorant of the law, you can be held against them. But if you don't know your rights, you don't realize that you should assert them. And sadly, courts have ruled if you don't assert your rights, you waived it. No, he started talking because he wanted to. He didn't realize he should just shut up. Okay? I can't tell you. Oh my Lord, I can't tell you how often that, hey, if my guy would have shut up, I could get him into a rehab. But since he just kept talking, now they don't even have to negotiate with me. Now he's going to have to go through a whole bunch more before I can get him into the rehab that he needs, before I can get him into the mental health he needs, before I can get him away from the folks that are leading him astray. Okay? So there's legal consequences, okay, both personally and civilly, all right, as far as your freedoms go, as far as your money goes, to not asserting these rights. Okay, we're going to give a listening test. Again, if you've heard this one, all right, don't tell your neighbors, all right? So let's read this. I'm going to read you this. You're only going to have to remember it for a little while. It comes back at the end, and we're going to have a little test over, okay? Last night, agents of the Columbus Police Department found 3 victims of an apparent murder dead in an apartment in East Riverview area. The apparent victims of a gangland-style slaying, and possibly the victims of gang-related violence. The police are investigating this as a possible murder and suicide, but right now, suspect the 3 were all killed by the same individual. No suspects have yet been identified in the slaying, but veteran police detective Elizabeth Melton has confirmed that the police are following up on evidence pointing to the possible involvement of an off-duty Army officer as the perpetrator. The bodies were found by the apartment manager at 8 o'clock in the morning, appeared to have been slain sometime earlier in the evening, probably sometime between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning. That's all you have to remember. All right? Got you picture in your mind? Mm-hmm. All right, we'll come back to it in a little while. Okay, we're going to specifically talk about some rights. All right? I'm skipping over others. Anybody know what the Third Amendment says?
Can't house soldiers.
Can't house soldiers. Give the man a cookie. All right? That's never been challenged. It's never brought up in any court ever because that was a big thing back then and no one's tried it since. But our 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment rights are really what we're going to kind of talk about in as fast forward as possibly I can. All right? Your 4th Amendment is the thinnest. Okay? And I want to go over that real quick with you because we're going to talk about it the least. All right? Your 4th Amendment is the search and seizure clause. All right? You cannot, the Constitution is very clear. You cannot be searched. You can't be seized without a warrant, period. Okay? Oh, but there's an exception. If I'm, I can't go in your house without a warrant, but what if I'm actively chasing you? I saw you shoot somebody and I'm a cop and I'm running after you. Can you just run inside your door and cry, "Ollie, Ollie, oxen free"? Well, no. Okay, so there's an exception for hot pursuit. Okay, well, if I'm arresting you, I have to get a warrant to search your bag and your pockets. Yeah, but what if you've got a gun? Okay, we're going to make another exception for if you're already under arrest, I can search your person. Okay, so well, what if I arrest you when you're in a car? Okay, I can search your car. You see where this is going? Okay, the 9th exception is if the police thought they had a warrant, they have one. And you know what they do? They sit down and they get in the car and go, "Hey, I heard we have a warrant." That's what I just heard. Yeah. Somebody said, I thought we had a warrant. Yeah, you said that. You just made it up. Don't lie to me and tell me you didn't. Okay? That's the 9th exception. So the 4th Amendment is a flimsy piece of paper that's nothing. There's more nuance to it than that, but effectively we're trusting cops and DAs to do the right thing. Good luck with that. So the 5th Amendment is really what we're going to talk about the most. Okay? That is your right to right against self-incrimination. All right? Your right to remain silent. Okay? Cop pulls you over, walks up to your window. What are they going to ask you? All right, license and registration. Do you know how fast you were going? Are they making small talk? They trying to become friends with you? Hey, you know what? I've gone that speed too. We should be buddies. No, they're interrogating you for possible crimes. They're trying to get you to admit to having violated the law. All right. In Georgia, we have local ordinances. Okay, you didn't take your trash out. You've got mattress in your front yard or something, right? Other than that, you only have misdemeanors and felonies. Speeding is a misdemeanor. Okay? Now, they let you sign the back of the ticket. You know what that is? That is your bond in lieu of them arresting you on that speeding ticket. I'm not signing that. Okay, then the default is you have to go and get booked because it's a crime. And so, but in lieu of all that, you can just sign this and we can let you go. That's an exception. In some states, it's not like that. But in Georgia, if you don't sign that, it's not, well, I can't believe this officer's going to arrest me because I didn't sign it. The procedure is I have to arrest you because you're guilty of a crime that I'm accusing you of, and so we've got to go and take you to the station. But I'll skip that if you'll just sign this and show up in court. You follow me? However, right, where are you coming from tonight? Hey, where are you headed? What? Why would you not answer that? You're trying to be polite. You're trying to talk this guy to give you a ticket. Hey, come on. I wasn't going that fast. Maybe a few miles over, but not, really bad. All right. I've just admitted to a crime. Well, I'm coming from Columbus, and I was headed to the brewery in Omaha. Oh, okay. I don't know, but there's an APB out for someone that just left Columbus and is headed towards Omaha for 6 murders. And guess what I just gave him? Okay? Evidence that I'm the guy. All right? Off on the other hand, I'm like, oh, I'm going to church with all of my saintly friends. I'm a bishop. And is he going to go, oh, well, I'm so sorry. No, of course he's not. He pulled you over for a reason. Okay? By the time he walks up and touches the tail light on your car, watch, they always do that. They're trained to do that. To leave a fingerprint in case it's the dumbest. What? They've got your tag. They know what the car is. But I've touched it. It's my fingerprint. They're going to, once he's at the window, he's already made up his mind if he's going to write you a ticket or not. You're not going to talk him out of it. However, you could give him more things to write you a ticket. I got a ticket in Milton, Georgia, all right, for cutting a curve a little too much. And so I got a failure to maintain ticket. How much you been drinking tonight? Respectfully, officer, I'm not going to answer your questions. Where'd you come from tonight? Respectfully, officer, I'm not going to answer your question. You're not going to tell me where you come from tonight? Respectfully, officer, I'm not going to answer any of your questions. Well, I need your ID and I need your wife's ID. Oh, here's mine. No, we're respectfully not going to give you hers. The Supreme Court has said we get to ask for everyone's IDs. You sure can. You've asked for them, and we have said no. The only requirement is for me, the driver, to present. All right? I can put that on the window. I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to interact with you. I have a Fifth Amendment right not to. Now, the Supreme Court, 100% of the time it has gotten there, has always upheld your Fifth Amendment rights. Always. Well, but he wasn't charged with a crime, so we have to make him talk about, nope. Why? Because I could be charged with a crime. Let's go to the next slide. Okay? Fact pattern. Cops have got you. They want to question you about an incident, somebody that you know. And you say, well, I'm smart. I'll just tell them I have nothing to do with it. So you say, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't kill Jones. I don't know who did. I wasn't anywhere of that place. I don't have a gun. I've never owned a gun in my life. I don't even know how to use a gun. Sure, I never liked the guy, but who did? I wouldn't kill him. I would never hurt anyone in my life, and I never have. Okay, what's the problem? Let's go to number 2. I don't know who robbed that store. It wasn't me. I wasn't even in Virginia Beach that night. I was 4 hours away visiting my mom. But do you have a credit card proof? No, I paid in cash. You know, mom can be my alibi, which is going to count for nothing. Like, all right, go to the next slide. Okay, how can it hurt? Misinterpreted statements. Okay? Statements can be taken out of context. You could get a bad read. All right? Bill Burr has a great stand-up sketch where he goes, no doesn't mean no. No means no. No, stop it. Stop. No, stop. That's not a no. That's different, all right? But in court, they get up and they go, I said no, stop it. You're being so bad. Don't. And he goes, she didn't say it like that. Wait a minute. You know, like that's a very different. So that context, okay, matters. Well, what if, but I want it recorded. Oh, but what if we lost the video? What if, the player won't, sorry, it's, AV problems, it won't work. Why take that risk, okay? Why? Because it can't help you, all right? In Georgia, they don't have to read these Miranda rights. Those are stuff that you see on TV. You have the right to remain silent as they're arresting somebody, right? That doesn't happen in Georgia. And people call my office all the time, hey, I got arrested, but they didn't read my Miranda rights, right? So I get off. No, not in Georgia. This isn't, law and order. But what do they say in that Miranda right, right? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, okay? There's this neat concept called hearsay, which is an out-of-court statement admitted to try to prove the facts, like the validity of what it contains, okay? So if I somehow made like this exculpatory, like, no, I actually was, and my attorney calls me and says, hey, tell the court, because it actually helps me randomly. No. The prosecutor's going to object and say that's hearsay. That's an out-of-court statement. And they're right. Whatever you tell them that might be good for you can't come in by law. Only what can be used to hurt you. So then why would you ever say anything? Because it can only be used to hurt you. It cannot legally be used to help you. Okay? But what if they disagree? Well, you said this, didn't you? No, I didn't say that. Well, my notes say you did. Well, wait a minute. What? So if you make no statement, there's no disagreement. Okay? Let's talk about some of this unintentional self-incrimination. Okay? Admitting to something minor that escalates. I was going a little fast, but I don't think I'm speeding that way. Maybe 5 miles over. Okay, well, hop out of the car. Now I'm going to test you and now I'm going to search your car. And your idiot friend left a joint in the back seat a week ago that you didn't even know about. Well, guess who gets handcuffed? You know what I mean? It's not going to help. All right? What are they going to read from that first fact pattern? Okay? I never did it. I never owned a gun. Is that what the jury's going to hear? No. They're going to come in with a giant blow-up glossy picture that says, I never liked the guy. See? He's got motive. He never liked this guy. Well, I didn't kill him. Yeah, but the jury is going to hear that you never liked him. You had something against him. Okay? Officer said, I never. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right. So we're gonna watch a little bit of a movie that is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, watch it twice. They show it to us in multiple law school classes because the law in it is very correct. All right. So let's watch this interrogation from my cousin Ben.
He paid for the groceries. And then what?
We went out to the car, and that's it.
When did you shoot him?
What?
At what point did you shoot the clerk?
I shot the clerk.
Yes, when did you shoot him?
I shot the clerk.
Hey, Dean, you need you out here? I'm in the middle of a damn confession here.
Whoa! Wait a minute!
I asked him if he did it, and he said, I shot the clerk. I asked him again, and again he said, I shot the clerk.
Your Honor, No further questions.
No further question. He's in there. He thinks he's copping to stealing the can of tuna that he inadvertently put in his pocket and walked out. He forgot. Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry. I'll make a full confession. He had no idea that even a murder took place. He's in there trying to be helpful. Yeah, let's get this over with. It's a can of tuna, no big deal. I'll say I'm sorry. But he's inadvertently confessed to a murder. Okay? Did he say, I shot the clerk? What did the judge hear? All right? No means no, right? Well, I shot the clerk is very different than I shot the clerk. But it's going to get read the same way. Okay? It cannot help you. It cannot help you. All right, let's go to the next. Okay. The common police interrogation tactics. Hey, man, look, it's going to be same thing they did there. Hey, man, we can get this over with real quick. All right? Why don't you go ahead and, sign this here. It's not a confession. It's just that you're okay talking to me because you do have to sign that you're okay talking to him. Why in the world? Why in the world? I wouldn't give the other baseball team our starting lineup until I have to. Why would I tell the cops who want me to go to prison anything at all? I wouldn't tell them my middle name. What are you talking about? Now, I'm not going to be a jerk to them, right? Okay, on the side of the road when they say, I'm going to need you to step out of the car, the rule of thumb is do what the guy with a gun is telling you to do, okay? Like, loudly assert those rights. I don't consent. As you're getting out of the car and locking it behind you. I don't consent to this, absolutely. And they go, well, I'm making you. Okay? I have a gun, and you're going to do what I say, but I'm going to force it on you. There is not the time for the trial. Loudly, continuously saying, I want to assert my right. I want to speak to an attorney. I want your supervisor to be here. I do not consent to this. I do not consent to searches. I do not consent to the search of my body, right? Just loudly, and it's going to be on the camera. Everyone in the state now has a camera, which is great, okay? Half the time they don't work, especially when they don't want them to. But continuously and loudly state this, okay? And then do whatever they force you at gunpoint to do. I can win that battle in the back end, okay? The side of the road is not the courtroom, okay? All right? He's in charge on the side of the road because he's got a gun, and he's not going to get in trouble for shooting you, okay? When they get to the courtroom, I'm in charge. Okay? I'm in charge. Not them. Boy, they hate that. Okay. We all know the different deceptions that police can use. The police, during their post-certification in foresight, are trained and taught how, not just that they can, but how correctly to lie to you. It is 100% legal for the cops to absolutely misinform you, to lie to you. Hey, your friend's already confessed, so go ahead and make your confession and we'll go lighter on you. In fact, I'll make sure that you don't get any prison time at all if you just confess. He's already confessed, man, and we're going to let him go. You confess, we're going to let you go. Okay, I did it. Well, guess what? I was lying, and now you've confessed. Okay? Now, I can fight out on the back end, but he promised X, Y, Z, and sometimes you heard that promise that wasn't really there. Look, I promise I'll take care of this whole thing if you confess. Well, what does that mean? It means whatever the cop wants it to mean, not what you thought it meant. Okay? They're trained on how to do that. Again, this sounds very anti-cop. I promise it's not. I promise it's not. Okay? I'm glad that if I got robbed, my house got broken into, my car got stolen, that I could call the police and have someone come and respond to that. But at the same time, our rights are literally more important than our lives. Okay? Remember that. All right, let's go there. Okay, what to do instead? This is very important. Politely decline. He rolls that window down and goes, get out of the car, and you go, F you, pig, I'm not doing that. You're in trouble, okay? You're about to have a real bad night, okay? Clients come in and they've got a DUI and they're following me too close or something. And I go, okay, all right, this is clients come in and they've got a DUI and a failure to maintain lane and a open container and 6 speeding and you're like, how'd you get 12 charges? Oh, you were a douche to the cop. And so he wrote you every ticket he possibly could have. You know what I mean? And they can. Now you get to the prosecutor and they go, all right, whatever. Well, we'll drop 6 of these and he pleads. But that's one more thing that I've got to leverage when I negotiate with All right? There's just no reason. Even if he's being an asshole, there's no reason to be one back. Just be polite. Eventually, that video is going to get shown to a jury. Okay? And if the cop looks like a jerk, the jury's going to go, this guy's an a-hole. But if you look like a jerk, they go, that guy's the jerk. We want him to be convicted. Okay? And on that alone, I've won cases. Well, I like this guy more because he's likable, and that guy's a jerk, and I don't like him. So I'm ruling in favor of this guy. Okay? And juries are never wrong. Even when they're absolutely, totally, undeniably wrong, they can't be wrong. So, anyway, that's another discussion. All right. Always request legal representation. Okay? What this does is it triggers stuff. They're not going to go, well, you're right, you got to... But it triggers stuff on the back end. Hey, you knew that he wanted to speak to a lawyer, and yet you kept asking him questions. I'm going to get all that thrown out because you did it wrong. I'm so sorry, officer. I know that he confessed to, being the second shooter on the grassy knoll, but you did it wrong. It all gets chucked. You did it wrong. Okay? Never consent. The only rights we have are the rights that we assert. Always, 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 always assert your rights. Okay? When I go to Sam's Club, on my way out, they go, I need to see your receipt. I go, no, thank you. What? It's my receipt. Do you have a warrant? Do you think that look, if you think that I've stolen something, call the police. I'll wait right here. Do you have any sort of reason? The cop's going to go, do you think he stole? Well, no, we just have to see his light. Man, you can leave. Yep, I know. Hey, call your manager over. I'll talk to him for 30 minutes. I would love to give this whole store a lecture on my rights, okay? This is my property. This stuff's my property, and you can go to hell, okay? My rights are more important, okay? My wife hates me. Like, oh, God, it's going to be 30 minutes. Stop it. Oh, please. No. She'll be like, look, why don't you go get the car. I'll go check out. Okay. I know what she's doing. Okay.
She's showing you.
But she's showing it. Absolutely. She's a compliance Hufflepuff. She just moves right through. All right. I'm a obtuse sliver. No, this porpoise of this thing, no way. Okay. But again, at the end of the day, do what the guy with the gun tells you. Okay. You can no, I don't consent to this. Hey, I don't consent to this. Yep, I don't consent to this. But if you decide to fight back or resist, then you're going to go to jail with a knot on your head, okay? And it's the same thing. As soon as you said, I don't consent, all right? But if you begin to fight that cop, now guess what? Now all these bets are off. Now I'm arresting you because you were fighting. Yeah, well, he should have fought. Yeah, but he didn't start fighting until, but that judge is going to go, but he fought. You follow me? All right, let's go to the next one. Okay. Let's just go ahead and see. We're trying to, okay. All right, this is the phone. All right, here's the quiz. Remember that fact pattern from earlier? All right, so I'm going to read this to you, and then we're going to have everybody raise their hands. How many people did the police find shot to death last night at the Riverview apartment I told you about? All right, A1, B2, C3, D4. Okay, raise your hands. Who thinks 1? Who thinks A? All right, who thinks 2? A couple. All right, who thinks 3? All right, a bunch of people. Look, hold on. Keep your hands up. Okay, look at all these people. Okay? Why are you wrong?
That many people can't be right.
I never said there was a shot. I never said gun. I never said bullet. Okay? But it's not weird that you thought that I did. Okay? Our brains hate a gap in information. Our brains like to assume things. Okay? That's the way our brains work. Gangline style slaying might imply something. Murder-suicide might imply something. I never said shot. I never said. Why? Why should you not even answer this question? Okay? Because now, in the courtroom, they're going to, when you interrogated him, was there anything weird? Yes, there was. Well, what was it in this high drama courtroom, I never said shot. He knew about the gun. He knew that it was a shot. Wait a minute, no, but one of the cops somewhere said shot. I don't remember that. And now it's your word versus theirs, and there's no reason for that. You can't win. There's no reason for that. Everyone in this room thought that this person was shot. But it was never part of the fact pattern. You see why our brains inadvertently do that. And the police are trained to take advantage of that. Okay? And good, I'm glad that bad guys get caught. But so many of us totally innocent people get caught up in this all the time. Every day, all the time. Okay? So, never. Just don't talk. Okay, let's go next. Okay. It is important that you know your rights. Okay? The Constitution is arguably, other than perhaps the Bible, okay, the most important, I'll say it's the most important non-religious document ever made. Okay? But even then, there's almost a religious level of reverence for it. Okay? Because I believe it was a divinely inspired creation. All right? No one had ever done this before. Okay? No one, I mean, the Magna Carta was the closest thing, and if you've read it, it's convoluted at best. Okay? And yet, here it is. It's survived all these years. Now it's changed and been morphed and been abused and had to be, unabused. But it's still important. Okay? If you don't have a free copy, you can get them from the Heritage Foundation and probably 18 other places. Okay? Get it, read it. It's not that long. Okay? Know your rights. Okay? The other thing, stay calm and stay polite. Even when they're handcuffing you, even when they're being douches. Okay? Imagine that you're in a cops drama and there's a film crew. Okay? What do you want your mom to see? And more importantly, what do you want the jurors to see? Do you want them to see you being a jerk? And they go, man, that guy's a jerk. He might not be guilty of this, but he sure is a jerk, so we're going to find him guilty anyway. Yes, I've had jurors tell me that's what happened, why they found people guilty. Okay? Or do you want them to hate this cop for, what is he doing to this nice guy's a veteran and he's getting on the ground? Why? Right? That's what you want to see. Okay. My last slide, I think, just asks for questions. All right. So here's some legal resources. All right. A lot of this information comes from Professor James Swain. He's with the Regent School of Law, which is Virginia Tech's law school. If you want to go to that video, it's a 45-minute version, and he speaks like the Energizer Bunny of kind of what a... No, don't. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Don't go
see
now.
what it looks
I was invited to give you a taste of a typical law school.
If you thought I was talking fast, okay. He's got a lot more information. He goes a lot deeper into what I just went through. He goes through, and it's all about the Fifth Amendment and all these reasons why and why and why. We skimmed to the top of several of them. Okay. There's my website if you want to contact me. I take stuff all over the state. I also advise people all over the state. Not only am I a full-time attorney with my own law firm, but I'm an elected county commissioner in Spalding County, and we were the first county to go from the Dominion machines to a hand recount for every single election, and we're trying to get that spread everywhere. And so election commissions all over the state call me and go, hey, how do I do that? I would love to tell you how to do that, okay? Because it's very easy, and lots of lawyers will be like, but you can't. Yeah, you totally can. Yes, you absolutely totally can. It's not even that hard, okay? And it's not that expensive. So if you or anybody else has any kind of issues that you need to chat with me about, there's my information. But I think we can go with one more. Now is also your chance, okay? And I'll be here all night, and I'm super approachable, and I probably still won't be sweating as much on the inside, okay? So does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
So they're trained to try to catch you out.
Yeah.
So is that because, are they trying to catch you out on things that they suspect you did, or just kind of anything?
So if I have to spend days finding facts and building a case and like exploring and figuring out and talking to witnesses, like there's a chance I'm just not going to do that.
So
there's a chance that it's just like, but if I could go, hey man, did you do this? Yeah, I did it. Well, now I don't have to do all that, right? And there's 8 million people that get shot and punched and whatever, you know what I mean? But if I walk up and go, hey, what? And you go, yeah. But if you go, no, thank you, I'm not going to, politely declining to answer any of your questions, there's a huge chance that cop's just not going to go do the work. Because he's about to get a call in 30 minutes to another case that he is going to go make an arrest. when you're a hammer, everything starts looking like a nail. A police officer's job, even though there aren't quotas, numerical quotas, a police officer's job is to make arrests, is to write tickets. And if you don't write enough, if you don't make enough arrests, then you're not going to make corporal. Then you're not going to make sergeant. You're not going to make lieutenant. Then you're not going to get hired by a better firm somewhere else, a better city. Everyone wants to make more money. And so there's a direct monetary incentive for me to go and make arrests. This one seems very hard. I'm just going to give you all a warning, knock it off, and I'm going to go get somebody easier. Okay? Happens all the time. State patrolmen, in fact, wear pins based on how many DUI tickets they wrote last year. Okay? And the biggest one is the 100. And most of them will wear multiple 100s because they're hot stuff. And they go, woo, look at, I'm so awesome. There's not a quota. You're right, there's not a quota. You're not going to get fired if you don't write enough. But if you don't write enough, they're going to go, I don't think this job's for you. I don't know if this is... But if you write enough, they go, wow, you're great. You should be a sergeant. There's not a quota, but there is. Okay? Great question. Yes, sir.
Small detail you mentioned at some point about pressing your license plate or your driver's license against the window. Mm-hmm. Could you expand on that?
So I don't do that personally because I think that is kind of rude. But I also don't smoke pot. So my car's not going to reek when I roll my window down. And unfortunately, there's no smelloscope on the camera. And far too often, normally folks who don't look like me, they go, no, I smell pot. I'm getting you out of the car. I'm going to search you. What? I don't smell. No. Right? So that's why they want you to roll your window down. Hey, roll your window down and talk to me. I do not have to do that. Okay? What are they doing? They're trying to catch a whiff of alcohol. They're trying to catch a whiff. And I love police. They're getting a little wise to it now, but they say on the stand, I smelled out. Now put it in their police report. I smelled the strong odor of alcohol. No, you absolutely did not. Alcohol is an odorless substance. There is no way that you smelled alcohol. Right? So they write now, I smell the odor of an alcoholic beverage. Okay, all right, I'll give you that. But on a motion to suppress one time, I had an officer testify that on July 31st, while he was in his cruiser, when the window's up, with the air on recirculate, a car passing on the other side of the divided highway going 70 miles an hour in the opposite direction, it was at that moment that he smelled the green leafy marijuana. No. When he then got behind them and pulled them over, it was not only in the trunk, not only in the tire, it was physically inside the rubber of the tire, in a coffee ground can wrapped in cellophane. Does anyone in their right mind think he smelled that while his car is on recirculate? Of course not. He had, and I have no proof of this, but he also had no proof that he smelled that, so I'm going to say it. It was very obvious to me that the distributor, the dealer in Atlanta, had somebody who wanted a bigger cut, had somebody that he was just feeding. They probably make 12 shipments a week, and one or two he calls and goes, this is the license plate number. And nobody's going to go investigate that guy because look at this stuff. Look, we found these drugs. Aren't we amazing? And so they get to keep making these arrests, even though they're getting 1/10 of it, 1/12 of it, and the dealer gets to slough off some guy who's now getting a little uppity in his opinion, okay? And so the cops get to look good. No one's going to find that guy because he's their source of looking good. And that's their incentive is, look at these arrests I've made. Now I'm a sergeant. That guy is now the head. I think he's at least a captain if he's not a major. All right, and it's because of stuff like that.
So would you recommend...
The judge, by the way, said that went to weight, not admissibility. That's a jury question, whether or not he could have smelled it. And since he testified that he smelled it, I'm going to allow it in. That judge is also elected and also still employed.
So would you recommend handing them the license?
So I do. I hand them the license, and then I politely assert my rights. Because again, I want even the cop to see me assert my rights. No, this is important. You should know that I'm asserting my rights, right? I had an officer pull me over at like 8:45 in the morning as I was turning into a superior court not far from here. And, he, where are you headed this morning? and it was in Hamilton, Georgia. Hamilton, Georgia is the size of this room. Like, there's nothing. I mean, it like makes Omaha here seem like metropolis. Okay, and like questions, right? And what? And then literally he wrote me a printed warning. There's a warning for something, and he had been following me for 45 minutes. It was an out of county tag, so. And I literally pulled like from here into like a parking spot, and then got out and went into the courtroom. And then me and all of his buddies that were there for other cases laughed at how ridiculous it was. Like it was so. But yeah, it definitely happens. It definitely happens. If a cop is really being a jerk, the rule is present. It's not hand to give a physical copy of. It's present. So that's presenting. You're going to have to argue it back and forth in a courtroom if, you know, this former Marine who's going to be a douchebag about it, like, I said, hand it to me, boy. Like, I don't have to, but, like, yeah, I'm going to have to do what the guy with the gun says. Well, I smell pot. No, you don't. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. We're going to argue in court. So, yeah, fun times.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's the deal with smelling things like alcoholic beverages or marijuana? Does it give them the right to search in Georgia?
It does. This goes back to the Fourth Amendment. So if they have probable cause, right? So if they see me pull a wad of cash out of my pocket, hey, that guy just stole a wad of cash, and they see me put a wad of cash in my pocket, right? They're going to go, hey, I think that was that wad of cash. I've got probable cause to walk over and detain you and try to search you and whatever.
So if you're on the side of the road and they say, I smell something, they can now search?
Yeah.
But you can say I don't consent.
Yeah, you just keep saying I don't consent, and then later I can be like, "Hey, you searched, and like you found a gun, but you didn't smell the gun. You smelled this, and you shouldn't have smelled that because that wasn't there, and at no point was it there. And it's this doctrine called the fruit of the poisonous tree. Hey, the root of this was wrong, and so whatever you got from it that might have been something that's right and illegal, like because it's the fruit of this poisonous tree, you get."
Well, guns ain't illegal, but yeah.
Well, it's hard to. I'll tell you a very quick story. I'll try to make it quick. An old lady who lived in Jacksonville, Florida, was flying to her daughter's house. She was going to sell her house in Jacksonville, Florida, and fly to Long Beach, I want to say, where her daughter lives. She had just gotten too old and didn't want to live by herself anymore. Her sister had flown out to Jacksonville to help her pack some stuff up. But she was selling the house with all the stuff, right? Because she couldn't move it across the country anyway, so she had it staged. Well, her daughter had bad credit, but she had great credit. So she would buy the cars, and then daughter would pay her, and she would just shovel the cash away in a coffee tin, right? Well, she doesn't want to leave the coffee tin there, so she brings it with her, okay? This old woman, by the way, had fled to the United States, fled Cambodia from the Khmer Rouge to come to the land of the free, okay? Could not speak English, and gets pulled over for having a dim taglight. Not an out taglight, but a dim taglight. She got pulled over because she was brown and had a Florida tag. That's why she got pulled over, okay? But their reason suspiciously was the dim taglight. And they got to the window and they said, where are you coming from? And she goes, yes. That's all she can say English. She doesn't speak English, okay? She fled here to get away from the evil communists so she wouldn't be harassed by the government. And the officer said, yeah, you're coming from Florida. You mind if we search your car? Yes. Okay, ma'am, hop on out. And they handcuff her and the 70-year-old lady with her, put her in the back of the police car, and then they get the dogs and they proceed to strip her car. And of course they don't find any drugs. She's a nice old lady. She's never committed a crime in her life, okay? But they do find $15,550, okay? And they go, where'd you get this money? And she goes, yes. You know, she's going, yes, my money. And they're like, well, you can't tell us where you got it. We think you got it illegally, so we're going to keep it.
Yep.
You can go. They didn't write her a ticket.
No charge.
No charges. You can leave. We'll just take this money. And her daughter calls and goes, they stole my grandma's money. Yeah. They sure did. Absolutely they did. Let's go to court. Please hire me. Let's go. I called the DA, and the DA said, man, I agree I got no leg to stand on, but the sheriff's not going to let me give it back to you. How about we split it? Nope. You're going to give this old lady her money back. Well, you know, they'd have to fly here, and they'd have to have a... Yep. Please don't make me make you look bad, because I will. Like, please, like, this is ridiculous. Give us all your money back. Sheriff won't let me do it, man. The week before our hearing, they got all their tickets to fly out to Georgia, right? Thousands of dollars in tickets. And the DA goes, our hearing was on a Friday. DA goes on Thursday at 4:30 to the judge and says, hey, I need to move tomorrow's hearing. Can you give me a month? The judge's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, wait a minute. And then they call us, hey, sorry, the hearing's been moved. Well, they got plane tickets. They're flying out tonight. Oh, sorry, we're moving it.
Well, if
So they had
no
to change all
charges,
their
there's no
flights.
due process.
Right? So that's the thing. The court case, this is civil asset forfeiture, which is the most illegal thing ever. The court case is the state of Georgia versus $15,550. It's the defendant. And you're responding in lieu of it, in rem. Okay? But it has no constitutional rights and protections because it's not a human. And so you have to both prove that it's your money and that you didn't get it through nefarious means. Okay, so the burden totally shifts to you because that's an inanimate object. When they win, if they, most of the money is just kept by the police. If they win, they can do whatever they want with it. They can buy a margarita machine for their lobby. They can do anything they want for it. The only responsibility is they have to tally up the grand total and tell the feds every year how much they stole. Before that second hearing, SCOTUS, when Ruth Bader Ginsburg was still on up there, released a 9-0 decision. Unanimous decision. All right? Gorsuch and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were like, yep, we totally agree. States are definitely doing this wrong and they need to stop. And I said, they released that on a Thursday because they always come out on Thursdays. And I was like, man, the prosecutor's calling me Monday. You watch. Sure enough, hey, James, where are we at with this civil asset forfeiture case? I'm like, I don't know, but I got a 9-0 SCOTUS decision that says you're about to give this old lady your money back. Well, that's got to be brought to Georgia. That's a federal law, but until it's brought by some case, this could be the one. And I put my name on a billboard that says I'm the one that brought this to Georgia. Please, 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 let's go. Well, how about 12? How about I give him 12 back? No, absolutely not. Well, it's my responsibility as an attorney. I have to convey any offers. So I called them and said, hey, they've offered 12. And they go, well, our tickets are refundable. And our tickets cost us 4. So we actually net more money if we accept the 12. So the Butts County Police legally stole $3,550 from a woman who had done nothing wrong. And they know it. You really want the kick in the teeth? If you add up all the money that is reported for civil asset forfeiture, only from people who are never subsequently charged, not found guilty, but not even charged with a crime, it adds up to more money stolen than all thefts, all burglaries, and all robberies in the United States. The police steal more from innocent people in the United States than thieves do. That's a staggering statistic. That's a staggering statistic. And we should all be outraged. 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 Okay? You guys have all seen the Washington Monument? There's 2 little lights on the top that blink so the planes don't hit it. There's a wire that runs down the Washington Monument and then across and goes over into Arlington where Thomas Jefferson is buried. And it's actually hooked to a little generator. And every time he rolls over in his grave, that's what powers those lights. Okay? All right, any other questions before we go? We're losing a lot. Anybody? Okay, I'm around. Oh, sir.
I have like 10,000 questions. But we've been talking here tonight about local times. Comment about the situation at the airports with TSA. And if you'd like this off opinion, what kind of resistance may offer some kind of possibility of putting into that process?
So it's gonna take political will. It takes political will. Just like I was telling earlier when they decoupled suspending your license when you got a pot charge. They used to suspend your license for 6 months automatically for any pot charge, even if it had nothing to do with your car. 2 politicians from South Georgia went up and said, hey, let's decouple that. And they got primaried in the next election and lost. And the people that primaried them went, they want your kids to smoke the pots. And they were out. So if a senator, if a House representative goes up there and goes, hey, we should get rid of this TSA thing. They admit that they've never stopped a bombing. They admit that they've never, look at their Instagram account. It's a bunch of like grenade-shaped vapes. That's not going to hurt anybody. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, it's theater. It makes people think that they're safe. It's not. Have you spoken to those people? I wouldn't let them watch my kids. When we were leaving JFK, I used to be on the Model United Nations team with Georgia State. We were leaving JFK, and they stopped the guy who was on my team with me and opened up his suitcase. They don't have to ask him to open their suitcase. They're just doing it. They opened up his suitcase, rooted around inside, and pulled out his, I want to say Gucci, but it was some kind of name brand like Coach or something, sunglasses case. And he put it underneath the thing, and he zipped the suitcase back up, and he was like, you can go. And the guy's like, no, you got my sunglasses. And the guy's like, move along. He goes, no, you have my sunglasses. I said move along. No, you have my sunglasses right there. I want my sunglasses back. Guy grabbed it, opened up the suitcase, put the sunglasses back in, zipped it, pushed it, and said, now move along or we'll arrest you. Okay? I probably wouldn't have believed that if a stand-up comedian had told me. Okay? I was there witnessing it with my own eyes. I don't know if that guy's still employed, but how many other people's stuff did he straight up steal? On the other hand, imagine if a politician goes to Washington, D.C. and says, this is ridiculous, we're getting rid of this. The next election cycle is, he wants you to be unsafe. He wants the terrorists to win. And the low education voter is going to go, he's right, oh my gosh. I mean, people believe, that Kamala Harris is going to do what she hadn't done the last 4 years. And that Trump is going to do all this terrible stuff that he didn't do when he was the actual president. Like, it makes no sense. And yet, there'll be millions of people who fall for that. Millions. So, that's what it takes. Is an educated populace and the political will to actually stop it. And it's the same thing with local level. That's much easier. Our district attorney won a suppression motion to suppress against me that I obviously should have won. Like, I won't go into the technicality of it, but it was like, Judge, are you serious? Like, what? And she even recognized that she shouldn't have won. And as soon as I lost and he said, call the next case, she walked over to my table and I was still stunned, like, I can't believe it. She said, James, I should not have won that case. I'm going to dismiss this case. All right? That's a level of integrity that you don't see from district attorneys. Everyone else would go, well, I got the W. Hey, yeah, I held on the line, and so my guy scored when we won. Like, we shouldn't have. I totally cheated. But no football coach is going to be like, well, no, ref, our guy held. You should take that point back. That's never going to happen. DAs just take the W and move on. But when you find someone who goes, hey, that was ridiculous. I didn't know what you were going to. That's my bad. I'm going to dismiss this case. That person needs to be protected like a national treasure. Okay, I go and campaign for the district attorney in my area. Okay, because she's that kind of person. When COVID happened, I was one of the elected officials, and they came and they said, we need to make all these restrictions. We need to put in a curfew. And I was like, how is that going to help? One of the things they wanted to do was to close any store that had two, like a Kroger or Walmart, that had two entrances. They wanted to close one of the entrances so that everyone went through one. And I was like, so you're going to make everyone use the same door? Like, how? So you're going to make everyone get closer together? Like, what? Well, James, we have to do something. We have to do something. Look, every time there's a tornado or a hurricane, somebody shoots at it with a gun. Like, it makes them feel better, but it's not doing anything. Like, this is the equivalent of shooting this hurricane with a gun. But James, we have to do something. And it passed 4-1. Yes. Okay? I'm the only one vote going like, guys, this is stupid. And our sheriff walked up and said, guys, I don't care that you just passed that. That's unconstitutional, and I'm not going to enforce it. I'm not going to enforce a curfew. You cannot do that. That is not, you're not allowed to do that. And my officers, and we were like, and I'm like, good. And they're like, but you have to. We just did. And then 2 days later, Kim came out and said, I override all of your local stupid stuff. Knock it off. Like, this is the state order. Knock it off. And I'm glad that he did that. You know what I'm saying? Because here we are. Our city did say curfew. And at 9 p.m., they had a roadblock at the main intersection of town, stopping every single car. And when my brother, who looks like me but without a beard, got stopped, they said, if you have a $1,000 fine, you better go home. But if somebody got stopped that didn't look like me, they went, I smell pot, get out of the car. And they made arrest after arrest after arrest. Again, our local solicitor was like, those are wildly unconstitutional, this is not okay. And he unilaterally dismissed all of them because Obviously, he should, okay? People that are doing the right thing need to be protected and supported and helped. People that aren't need to be called out, and you got to find someone to run against them who is going to do the right thing, okay? I have super run out of time. You got a million questions, I know. Let's chat outside after this.
Favorite story of yours of a police officer lying on the stand?
It's the Superman's dog's nose story. It's obvious he's lying. Everyone in the courtroom knows he's lying. Like, you're lying. You got a call. You got an agent who told you it was that guy. Just say so. Just say so, and we'll move on. Nope. I smelled it. Everyone in this room knows you're lying. I get along with everybody else in that entire department. But like, even when it's me and him, I go into pain. It's like, like I let him have it. They wrote my wife a ticket. A cop wrote my wife a ticket for flashing her lights to warn other drivers. Right? Always do this. You have a First Amendment right to do that. It is not illegal. You were interfering with our investigation. Okay, who are you investigating for what crime? Well, just people driving. That's not a who. That's not a what. I got a First Amendment right. Go pound sand. He wrote her a ticket for driving with her fog lights on. When he said, why are you flashing your lights? AKA, I know that you're not driving with your fog lights on. Right. But you picked the wrong guy. You picked my wife, and you were mean to her, and I take that personally. So I subpoenaed him to court. Okay? So normally, the prosecution just says, you got to come when we call you, and you don't have to come unless we call you. Well, I've subpoenaed you, which means every time I'm in court, you got to show up. And you have to stay there until I let you go. And so I know all these people, and I'd love to sit around and shoot shit with them. So here we go. We're going to sit around talking. Like, yep, here we are. Hey, is this case coming up? I'll let you know. No, actually, we bound it over. You're going to have to come back to court another day. What? I'm sorry. I know that you work third shift, but I don't care. Remember that time you were mean to my wife? Oh, I needed a continuance. You're going to have to come back again. So sorry. This is our fourth court date. Sure is. He finally went in and dismissed the ticket. I objected to his dismissal of the ticket and demanded a hearing on that, which he also had to attend. Now the judge went, I'm dismissing the ticket. I went, But like, made him show up 4 times. Don't be mean to my wife. That's the lesson. You know what I mean? But like, everybody knows you're lying. You know what I mean? Like, you're lying. It's on video. You're lying. Okay, I'm going to give you our time. Again, it takes a defense attorney, right? Oh, those slimy defense attorneys. Look at what they did to OJ. Like, yeah, there's plenty of people that come in my office and go, hey, we're just going to lie and say it was my friend driving. And I go, here's another lawyer's card. You can call him. I don't do that. Okay, I don't do that. But, hey, it's your 3rd DUI and you're 22. What are we going to do about your alcoholism? Alcoholism? Yeah, man. You're on your 3rd DUI. You're 22. You have an alcohol problem. You think so? Let's go ask a professional. Let's go and get, oh, man, I have an alcohol problem. And then 2 years later, when they're done with an outpatient program, they come to my office and go, James, thank you for changing my life. Okay? I could make easily 5 times, but probably 10 times what I make in Griffin if I worked in Atlanta. Okay? But the people that routinely come to my office and say, thank you for helping me change my life. I didn't know how bad my situation was. This was controlling me. That's why I drive a used Toyota and not a Beamer. Okay? Because that's more valuable. Okay, thank you guys for listening. Sorry to